The human brain processes about 11 million bits of information per second, but you can only consciously focus on around 40 bits. That massive gap between what your brain can handle and what you actually pay attention to is the secret to unlocking superhuman learning speeds. Most people are completely unaware of this cognitive bottleneck, which is why they struggle to learn new skills, memorize information, or master complex subjects. But once you understand how to manipulate your focus like a precision instrument, you can literally rewire your brain to absorb knowledge at rates that seem impossible. I'm about to show you the exact science behind accelerated learning, and more importantly, the practical techniques that top performers use to compress months of learning into weeks. These aren't feel-good productivity hacks or wishful thinking. These are evidence-based strategies rooted in neuroscience research that can transform how quickly you master anything. The first thing you need to understand is that your brain doesn't learn the way you think it does. Most people believe learning happens through repetition and willpower, but that's only half the story. Your brain is actually designed to forget most of what you encounter. This forgetting mechanism isn't a bug, it's a feature. Your neural networks are constantly filtering out irrelevant information to prevent cognitive overload. The key insight here is that your brain determines what to remember based on the intensity and context of your focus when you first encounter information. Think of focus as a spotlight that doesn't just illuminate information, but literally burns it into your memory. The brighter and more concentrated that spotlight, the deeper the neural pathways that get carved. This is why cramming doesn't work for long-term retention. When you're distracted or unfocused, you're essentially telling your brain that this information isn't important enough to remember. Your attention scattered across multiple inputs creates weak, shallow neural connections that fade quickly. But when you achieve what researchers call a state of focused attention, something remarkable happens. Your brain releases specific neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine that act like neural fertilizer. These chemicals strengthen the synaptic connections between neurons and trigger the production of proteins that literally grow new neural pathways. The most powerful technique for achieving this state is called attention residue management. Every time you switch between tasks or check your phone, part of your attention remains stuck on the previous activity. This creates what researchers call attention residue, and it's absolutely devastating for learning efficiency. Think about the last time you tried to study or learn something new after scrolling through social media. Your brain felt foggy and unfocused, right? That's attention residue in action. Your neural networks are still partially engaged with the random stimuli you just consumed, leaving less cognitive capacity available for deep learning. The solution is to create what I call attention purification rituals before any serious learning session. Start with a 2-minute breathing exercise where you count each exhale from 1 to 10, then restart. This isn't meditation fluff. It's a proven technique for clearing attention residue and optimizing your prefrontal cortex for focused work. Next, implement environmental design for cognitive enhancement. Your physical environment sends constant signals to your brain about what kind of mental state you should be in. A cluttered, noisy space triggers your brain's threat detection systems, diverting precious cognitive resources away from learning. Create a dedicated learning environment that's completely separate from where you relax or consume entertainment. Remove all visual distractions, including decorations, personal items, and anything that might trigger associative thoughts. Keep the temperature slightly cool, around 68 to 70 degrees, because mild discomfort actually enhances focus by preventing your brain from becoming too comfortable. Now let's talk about the neuroscience of information encoding. Your brain doesn't store information like a computer filing system. Instead, it creates elaborate networks of associations and connections. The richer and more unusual these associations, the stronger the memory becomes. This is why the ancient technique of memory palaces works so effectively. By linking new information to vivid spatial memories, you're hijacking your brain's natural navigation systems to create powerful retrieval cues. But you can apply this same principle without building elaborate mental castles. The key is to force your brain to make unexpected connections during the learning process. Instead of passively reading or listening, actively question why the information matters, how it relates to things you already know, and what would happen if the opposite were true. This questioning process activates multiple neural networks simultaneously, creating redundant pathways for memory retrieval. One of the most underutilized techniques is called elaborative interrogation. Instead of just trying to memorize facts, you constantly ask yourself explanatory questions. Why does this work this way? What causes this effect? How does this connect to other concepts? This turns passive absorption into active construction, and active construction creates much stronger memories. The timing of your learning sessions is equally crucial. Your brain operates on natural rhythms called Ultradian cycles, roughly 90-minute periods of high alertness, followed by 20-minute periods of reduced focus. Most people fight against these cycles, trying to maintain constant focus for hours at a time. This is not only ineffective, it's counterproductive. Instead, align your most challenging learning tasks with your natural peaks of alertness, typically in the first 90 minutes after waking up and again in the early afternoon. During these peak periods, your brain produces optimal levels of acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter responsible for focused attention and neuroplasticity. But here's where most people make a critical mistake. They assume that longer study sessions automatically lead to better results. Research shows the opposite is true. Your brain's ability to form new neural connections actually decreases with extended focus sessions. After about 90 minutes of intense concentration, your cognitive performance drops significantly. The solution is strategic recovery through active rest. During your break periods, don't just sit passively or check social media. Engage in light physical movement like walking or simple stretching. Physical movement increases blood flow to the brain and triggers the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that promotes the growth of new neurons and synapses. This brings us to one of the most powerful learning accelerators that hardly anyone talks about: the strategic use of confusion. Your brain is designed to resolve confusion by creating new neural pathways. When you encounter information that doesn't fit your existing mental models, your brain enters a state of cognitive tension that actually enhances learning. Instead of avoiding confusion or difficult concepts, lean into them deliberately. Seek out information that challenges your assumptions or presents conflicting viewpoints. This cognitive conflict forces your brain to work harder to integrate the new information, resulting in deeper understanding and stronger memories. The technique works even better when you alternate between periods of focused learning and periods of deliberate confusion. Spend 25 minutes studying a concept until you feel like you understand it. Then immediately expose yourself to more advanced or contradictory information about the same topic. This push-pull dynamic keeps your brain in an optimal state of arousal for learning. Sleep plays a more critical role in learning than most people realize. During deep sleep, your brain literally washes away metabolic waste products and consolidates the memories you formed during the day. But not all sleep is created equal for learning purposes. The most important phase for memory consolidation is slow-wave sleep, which typically occurs in the first half of your sleep cycle. To optimize this process, avoid screens for at least 2 hours before bed, keep your bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees, and maintain consistent sleep and wake times. Here's an advanced technique that can dramatically accelerate your learning: targeted memory reactivation during sleep. About 30 minutes before going to bed, review the most important concepts you learned that day while listening to a specific piece of instrumental music. Then play that same music very quietly while you sleep. Research shows this can improve memory consolidation by up to 40%. The final piece of the accelerated learning puzzle is strategic forgetting. This sounds counterintuitive, but deliberately forgetting irrelevant information actually improves your ability to remember important concepts. Your brain has limited storage capacity, and every piece of trivial information you hold on to reduces your capacity for meaningful learning. Practice information triage by regularly reviewing what you've learned and consciously deciding what to keep and what to discard. This isn't about becoming absent-minded. It's about optimizing your cognitive resources for maximum impact. The science of accelerated learning isn't about working harder. It's about working in alignment with how your brain naturally operates. Master these techniques, and you'll discover that learning faster isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Your brain is already capable of incredible feats of learning and memory. You just need to know how to unlock its full potential. If you found the information in this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more mind-shifting and life-changing content.